best drone racing teams. We're the Drone Champions League, and I'm Matt Andrews. Welcome to Race Day 8 around Reuter in Austria, where it all began back in 2016. Those teams, well, we have 10 of them fighting in Split 2 for 2023. Two matchups for you today. It's going to start off with the former world champions XBlades, who are here with Minjay, Yayu, Star 23467, and Shane. I say former world champions. They'd won every season until this team took the title from them in 2021. The two-time reigning champions, Matteo, Vincent Mayans, IQ0, and Yuki, they are Japan's Raiden Racing. We'll also be starting with China Dragons, who've got Kryson, Creator Gamer, Clone Number 1, and Ion, an unchanged lineup from the last few weeks, and a team who are having a great season. They're going to be taking on a really close rival, Cyclone Racing, the best of the new teams who joined in 2023. They've got the Ice Cheetah, Fluorescent, J-Box, and Zion. These are really close matchups, as you'll see. China Dragons and Cyclone Racing both tied on 6 wins out of 7. XBlades the only team to have not lost a race so far. These matchups take place over 3 races, 2 pilots versus 2, the other 2 from each team against each other, and then the DCL Big Heat, where all 8 race at the same time. You get 4 points for a win of any of those races, then it's 3, 2, and 1 point respectively for the top 4 positions, even in the Big Heats, where all 8 are racing. If you win the matchup overall, you get 3 points towards the season, 1 point for a draw. Of course, no one wants to come away with nothing, particularly when the scores are this close. And the track we're racing around at Reuter, it's Market Town, which starts off with its incredibly complex set of cubes in a cage. Thread your way through this after going down and out, and then it's around these 2 before we start visiting the castle walls. This is a real ruins set in Austria, where our very first DCL race was back in 2016 in real life. Now we're into the courtyard. So you slalom here, duck under this hurdle, then there's another bit of a slalom before you head around the outside of the castle walls to the start again. 6 laps around this in total. So let's go racing, everybody. Our 2v2 to kick off China Dragons against Cyclone Racing. It's Ion and Kryson against Zion and the Ice Cheetah. Zion and the Ice Cheetah in Cyclone's purple, the China Dragon pilots in orange, and everybody into the cubes. All nice and tight, everybody out of that within 0.6 of a second of each other. Now we'll start to weave. The Ice Cheetah just trying to hang on to everybody else at the back. His teammate Zion right up near the front. Let's watch him over the courtyard, around the outside of the castle walls from this point. He's right with Kryson. That's beautiful. Side by side, into the cube will go. Oh no, an early crash for Zion. Caught one of the railings of the cube and the visitor's sign next to it. Oh, now he's 1.5 seconds behind, and the Ice Cheetah and Ion have all had a few bumps on that first lap, as they're all about 1.5 seconds or worse behind this guy, Kryson, for China Dragons, who's on to lap number 2. Huge lead for him. Ion, his teammate, right between the 2 purple pilots. Zion, a long way behind, twice as far behind now. What a terrible start he's had. Ion, all kinds of shaky. Oh, that's not looking very smooth as he goes through the cube, but he's come out of it in 2nd place. Zion, with that 3 and more seconds gap between him and the leader, is in 3rd as the Ice Cheetah has dropped even further behind. Oh, this is a bad start for everybody but Kryson, really. Now Ion's got company for 2nd and 3rd place. His teammate far out in front. Let's see if Ion can smooth up the cube as he goes on to lap number 4 and is halfway through this race now. Comes out through the bottom, still behind Zion, who found himself so far behind, but now finds himself in 2nd and in a battle to hang on to that place. Kryson has no idea how mad it is all behind him, but now there's a shot of him moving around the castle walls beautifully smoothly. It's less smooth and a bit more dangerous between Zion and Ion. And Kryson may have just spotted them in the cube right at the back. And likewise, Zion and Ion might have seen the Ice Cheetah entering as they were about to wrap it up. On lap number 5, Zion, Ion, 1/10 of a second between them. Through the pair of the block tray gates on the slalom. Now heading towards the courtyard. Ion ducks under the hurdle. Zion still just fractionally in front of him. Maybe even slightly more than he was. Zion into the cubes on the start of his final lap. Oh, and he's in there and he's staying there for a moment. Ion's got past him, but not by much. Ion wasn't quick either. So many times one of these pilots has made a mistake only to come out of it and realise that their opponent isn't that far ahead. In fact, not ahead of Zion now. Ion's just behind him and there's not much left of this race. Kryson wins it. What happens now?
Come on. Oh, didn't.
Oh, I crashed so much.
Last time. Damn it.
No one looking very happy with that. A lot of mistakes on all of those laps for everybody but Chryson from China Dragons, who picks up 4 points for his team. Let's take a look at some of the mistakes and bumps which interfered with the race there. There's Zion getting caught out in those cages. The Ice Cheetah was behind for a lot of it as well. He was quick on entry here on the start of lap number 3. As you can see, he's hit a couple of places. What happened towards the end? Well, Zion got caught out into the cube, as we saw. There's Ion just ahead of him on the exit. So at this point, Ion's in the lead. They're side by side through the block trade gates. Ion tries to weave just inside him there too. Now to get to the courtyard, Zion's in the lead at this point, but Ion on the last turn outside the walls hits it there, and that's why he's third. Let's see what happens when Creator Gamer and Clone Number 1 take on J-Box and their new pilot on Cyclone, Fluorescence. Everybody's in, okay. And it's an early mistake for Fluorescent. He's got to go back and complete one of the sides that he missed. Oh, 3 seconds behind already. He might not see anybody for the rest of these 6 laps. They could feel like a very long, lonely race for him now. Creator Gamer in third here is attacking. You can see he's, well, you don't see that often in a race. Rolling it out of that turn, but saved it, kept it flying. I'm not sure how much that was intentional and instinct, but it's still working for a third place for him. Now he needs to chase his teammate, Clone Number 1, into the... Oh, he's hit the tunnel, just turned, caught the right-hand side of it, sent him backwards. Clone Number 1, his teammate, is chasing J-Box for the lead on lap number 2. There's almost half a second between them. J-Box around the castle walls to start lap number 3. And here we go, in and back out through a split S on the entry of the cages. And up and over the top, Clone Number 1 is left behind. There's a much bigger gap now, and he's quick through that tunnel and into the first of the 2 block tray gates, trying to slip across them, fly it laterally, and gain some time. And he needs to, because J-Box got a big lead over him just about half a lap ago, and it's still there. And Clone Number 1 got a little close to that wall, which I've seen him hit in previous races this season. Now it's 1.2 seconds between him and this pilot, J-Box, out in front. How is he doing it so quickly? Well, as you can see, he's got this track well trained. They don't get long to learn the tracks before they have to race them on race day. J-Box seems like this one really suits him. Clone Number 1 is still 1.5 seconds behind. There's 2 laps to do something about it. Now that's good work from Clone Number 1. That is close, tight flying. He's got the smooth lines worked out. He can barely see one turn before he's into it. And he's making it work, but J-Box has left him with another half a second of catching up to do. Close to the wall, under the 2 hurdles, now up and heading onto the final lap and into the cage with a nice pre-turn. And this doesn't look in all places as smooth, but in other places it looks much faster than Clone Number 1, which is why he's pulled away again. This is going to be a good stretch for him. If he can keep this up, he'll get 4 points for Cyclone, which they need after losing the first race 6-4. And Fluorescent needs to stay ahead of Creator Gamer if he can. With doing that, they'll tie up the series after the 2v2s.
Good job, J-Box.
J-Box with a big win. Clone Number 1 second.
Oh, sorry.
Good job.
Just
Nice.
on the first lap.
Hey,
Now
we're
we're
all
even.
tied up now. Yep, even.
Nice try though.
Fluorescent being reassured by his Cyclone teammates that don't worry about it, the scores have been evened up because J-Box got the win. Fluorescent was 3 seconds behind at the beginning after going in and then forgetting you need to go up for the exit and then having a second guess which way it was again. That took him a long time to untangle. Ion got caught on the castle tunnel. We've seen a couple of pilots get caught out there. J-Box though, pretty clean out in front. And it's big heat time next. All 8 pilots in the air, and with Chryson winning the first race cleanly and J-Box getting that one, decent chance of one of them picking up another 4 points for their team next. Away we go. All 8 pilots in the DCL big heat. And that's better from everybody. Fluorescent is in fact the first one from Cyclone to complete those cages. And remember, on the last race, he got very confused at the beginning and lost a whole load of time. He's well in the fight after they're done on lap number 1 here. The Ice Cheetah 1 second behind his teammates J-Box, Fluorescent, Zion also around the top positions, and China Dragons settling into the middle of things, but it's very, very close in times. Let's see if Kryson can thread his way out of there and keep up. He does. Kryson and J-Box at the front, as we expected. Clone number 1 going through the 2 block trade gates in 3rd place, and now slipping a little bit further down into 5th and out of the top 4 scoring positions, 3 of which are in Cyclone's hands. Here's Kryson. Seems to be the pilot on China Dragons who's got this track dialed in the best. Although Clone and Ion doing all right too. Just outside of the scoring points, but very close to the others. Kryson and J-Box are very close. 1/10, maybe 2/10 between them. One turn, J-Box gets a little bit further ahead. Kryson gains on him in the next section. Around the castle wall is tight. Following him into the cubes, onto lap number 4. Still 2/10 of a second between them. Then it's Fluorescent. And the Ice Cheetah in and out of the 4th place, fighting with Ion. It's Stripes at the moment. Cyclone and China Dragons were all the way down, alternating positions, but China Dragons are dropping to the back of the field. It's just Kryson who's in the points at the moment again. On lap number 4, we've passed the halfway mark. J-Box has gone a little bit further ahead of him, almost half a second now. Then it's Fluorescent and the Ice Cheetah, and there's 2 seconds between them and the pairing of J-Box and Kryson. So it does look like it's going to be one of those 2 pilots who picks up the 4. But at the moment, Cyclone are ready to take as many of the other points as they can. Kryson into part of the hurdle on the courtyard. I was about to say he's really letting it go there to try and take every corner as tightly as he can, but it's cost him. J-Box is ahead. Now Clone number 1 has actually got up into the scoring points as well. Kryson had some problems, but so did Fluorescent. If it goes like this, it's going to be another 5 points each. That'll cancel it out and make the whole thing a draw. So J-Box just needs to bring this home now and then hope that his teammates move up, and they have just slightly. Can they hang on to that? Kryson will be second, and Fluorescent and the Ice Cheetah are in 3rd and 4th.
Yes, we got it. We got it.
Let's go.
We just beat China Dragons. Let's go.
Oh, a battle. You can see China Dragons reeling a little bit from that. J-Box winning that big heat outright early on. Good threading by everybody. The Ice Cheetah just a little bit wider, which is why he comes out a little bit further behind. On lap number 3, Clone number 1 was trying to move up into the points. He kept dipping in and out of them, but just couldn't fly it consistently. Zion, likewise, was 3rd at this time, and then getting caught on the courtyard a couple of times. Creator Gamer was languishing around the middle and really just seemed never at home on our route around Reuter here. Kryson, though, was trying to get it done for China Dragons. That bump on the 5th lap is what cost him the chase when he was gaining on J-Box, but J-Box cleanly out, gets the win, the big one. Cyclone Racing get the big win over the China Dragons, a team who've been in the DCL for many, many years. Cyclone will be thrilled to have beaten one of the big names. 17 points to 13, it was pretty close. Now let's turn our attention to the other matchup for today, XBlades Racing against Raiden Racing. What a battle this will be. Star23467 and Min Jae Kim against Vincent Myers and Yuki. The former world champions from the UK racing in light blue. The 2-time reigning world champions who took their title racing in yellow. The stories between these 2 teams go back year after year after year. We've had so many finals battled between them. XBlades seem to be performing better through a season, but then it is Raiden who come away with the titles when it counts. So, Star completes the first lap just in a battle with Yuki. Then Vincent Myers is half a second behind the pair of them. And Min Jae is a long way down. Uncharacteristic for the young 15-year-old from Korea and the FAI Junior World Champion as of 2 weeks ago. He's down in 4th place. Star continues to lead. Yuki just another 10th or so behind him. Myers closer than he was. Look at that, the 2 Raiden pilots pursuing Star and getting ever closer to him. We're on to lap number 3, into the cages. Myers is threading this very nicely and comes out in front of his teammate and Star. Both the Raiden pilots have got past. Now Star has to hang on to them. Min Jae seems to have gained a second or maybe even 2 from that massive gap that was between him and everybody else. Be amazing if we get to see him get anywhere near this fight at the front, which is currently Mayans at the halfway stage, leading into the cage, and then Star, Yuki, and then Minjae, who's dropped a little bit further back after that brilliant gain. He's lost some more time. Star's view here, who's caught up with Yuki, slipped alongside him, now is in second and 1/10 behind Vincent Mayans. This is good flying from both of these teams, as you'd expect. The best in the DCL. We're expecting to see some really high-class performances, nobody wanting to give anything to the other team. Look at that, that was almost perfect from Star, and Vincent was still in front of him, but I think Star's just moved past him now. They are side by side. He's gained on him, he's caught him on that turn, and Mayans fights back. Star and Mayans over the courtyard on lap number 5. Is anyone going to make a mistake, or are we going to get a flat-out race? Well, Star's gone a little bit wider there onto the start of the last lap, which has given a couple of tenths to Vincent Mayans. But look at the threading of this. It is beautiful. It is so tight. It is 0.05 of a second between them. Block trade pairings, done. Tower, done. Going around into the courtyard. Mayans just swinging a little bit of a different route in. He's 1/10 away from Star. There's the turn around the walls. He's closer than he was on the dive to the finish. Star! Look at Yayu. He wasn't even in that race. And now look at Raiden. Says it all.
Okay, that's time.
Star 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. He got that lead and he hung on to it with everything he had. Minjae, surprisingly, out of that for pretty much the whole race. Gained a little bit. And with a pilot like Minjae, you think he might even be able to catch them. But we never saw him again. Mayans, a few bumps there. That's not very like him. Over the courtyard, this is where he was on that last run towards the finish. And he was so much closer than before. Whereas he was wider on the previous lap. But even so, not close enough to take it. Star just stayed in front of him. Only 0.11 of a second between them at the end. Yayu and Shane against Matteo and IQ0. Well, Yayu was drying his hands like he'd raced in that last match. Now let's see what he can do in this one. We're on board with IQ0, who's just behind him, but going to stay a little bit further behind everybody as he can't get the cages together either. Oh, and into the rocks afterwards. Oh, Gabriel Barrasso from Australia, a long way behind in this race. Shane is the one who's out in front. Then it's Matteo, and 1.3 seconds between them. So nowhere near as close as the previous battle was. So we'll see what Matteo can do. He's got Yayu in between the two of them now. He's just pushed him down into third place. So Yayu threading all right here. Slightly wobbly on the exit of it, though. 2 seconds behind Shane. Yayu, his teammate, 1.3 seconds behind Shane. That's a good route down. That wasn't leaving much space as he dropped into the DCL gates. And no, he's got caught on a hurdle. The courtyard are causing problems. The walls are causing problems. These incredible pilots are making mistakes on some comparatively straightforward parts like slaloms. Now we see Matteo, who's a bit closer to Yayu than he was before. And then Shane, still just out in front. IQ0, still over a second behind his teammate from Japan's Raiden Racing. Shane, 0.2 of a second ahead of Yayu. We might get a real close battle between these two as we go on board with Yayu. Into the cages now, chasing Shane. 4th lap out of 6. Yayu moving around, all close to him, but Shane got that done beautifully. In the last couple of weeks, he's found some places you can race on the racing line that no one dares. There's one of them. Nobody's dared to slip through that part of the tower. You still have to make it around the back of it, and you have to fly that incredibly well to fit through. And I'm not sure it saves you a lot of time on the turns afterwards. He's still behind Yayu. Will he dare to keep doing that? I think he will. We've seen he's quite a daredevil pilot. Let's go on board with him now into the block trade pairing with Yayu. And then he slips in there, but you've still got to make that pylon turn afterwards, and he's done it by the tiniest of margins. It's so risky, and as you can see, he's now a second behind Yayu. It hasn't really gained him anything. Let's see what Yayu can do on the cube. Threading it really nicely. Oh, just too high on that section. Oh, that's caught him, but it's the pilot from his own team who's passed him. Oh, and he's hit. Oh, no. Yayu has hit basically everything after the castle tunnel. Thankfully for him, the only pilot to overtake him is from XBlades, as both IQ0 and Matteo are too far behind. So Shane will get a win, and Yayu will get second.
Nice one.
Nice.
Keep it up, boys. One more.
Far out. I had such a good run. I just hit a stupid light, and it screwed me up at the start.
Altogether, this is one of the clumsiest days of racing we've had from our professional teams. Very few pilots seem to be able to get around Reuter's Market Town track cleanly. Here's IQ0 getting caught out in the cube, and then he said he tripped over a light afterwards. There it is. Yayu on the first lap turns too hard here, coming across that block trade gate, not giving himself enough room for the turn. Shane hits a light pole there on the big wide open slalom. That's a surprise because that one's got a lot of visibility. You see that coming from a long way off. Here's Yayu getting caught out in the cube on the final lap, and then through the castle tunnel but hitting the walls. Shane was there for the win. Big heat time. All of the pilots. Who can win it for their team? That's a really hard one to call. Raiden, 12 points to 8 down. I mean, they need to get a lot of the points out of this. And IQ0 and Matteo are in all kinds of wrong directions going into the cages. But their other two teammates are where they should be. Around the top of the leaderboard, Yuki just slipping a little bit outside of the XBlades pilots who've just moved up between them. Mine's charging now. Going to try and grab this race and keep it. Star chases him around the walls onto lap number 2. And nice pre-turn. Star, who was doing so well in the cages earlier, looking pretty solid here, and Yayu has managed to get past Vincent Mines as well. He's gone down into 3rd. Minjae, just a nearby 2. Mines through the gate, swinging around into the courtyard, going around that pylon, which has caught a couple of pilots out, and around the castle wall, which has also caught a couple out. He's within a 10th of a second of Yayu and the lead. Into the cages, it's chaos. It's so difficult going in and out of all of these different cubes, and with drones in every direction in your peripheral vision as well. Mines comes out 0.3 of a second behind Yayu, and now also behind Star. Just got alongside him, just past him, moves Mayans down into 3rd, and Yuki into the last of the scoring points. But this is not where Raiden need to be. They want to be in 1st and 2nd and more. This is looking like XBlades in a commanding position as we've gone past the halfway point. Yayu and Star swapping the lead between them, but both of them still 0.3 ahead of Vincent Mines. Yuki in 4th with a big gap between him and Minjae, but none of them anywhere near these top 3 pilots. Mines, as is often the case with Raiden Racing, the only one who can really make a dent in the scoring at the very top of the leaderboard. They're all amazing world champions, but Mines is the most consistent. That said, this is not Mines flying at his best in the cage, but it's not a bad recovery. Given how much time some other pilots have lost getting tangled up in there, Mines getting out of that is pretty quick, and Yayu went very wide shortly afterwards. Mines will try and gain on him now. Yuki still in 4th. Coming around to the start of the final lap, Star 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 in the lead, and then it's Yayu, then it's Mines and Yuki in the scoring position. Star giving Mines a chance to catch him there, getting caught on top of the cages, out inside the castle tunnel. Mines has gone past, up in a second, so has Yuki, but in these positions it's 5 points for XBlades and 5 for Raiden. That isn't what Raiden need. They're not going to catch Yayu though. It's a win for XBlades. Mines in 2nd. Now Yuki comes in with Star.
Oh, it was so wasted. It's nice, yes, but I shouldn't have thrown it away like that.
Yayu wins it for XBlades, the big heat and the battle. Mines in that fight, as he often is. But that 3rd pass into the cage is just a little bit too bumpy for him. And 1 lap later, on the final lap, Star manages to hang on to some points, but made a few mistakes to get there. Yayu's final lap, that's how that final section is done. That's how you win a race for your team. The DCL finish gate had Mines, and then Yuki. Star 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 came in 4th, and XBlades get another win over Raiden Racing. The rivalry never fails to deliver. 17 points to 13, and 2 of the races being 5 points each. That was a really close one. Here are the other matchups from race day 8. Quad Force 1 beating the DCL Wildcard team 19 points to 11. SDT sweeping aside Alpha Prop Racing, and Back 1 getting a win over Haven as they were a no-show. That means that Cyclone with their win today have passed China Dragons. SDT and Quad Force 1 have both gained on Raiden. Next week on race day 9, we'll see if Mach 1 can get another win against their closest rivals in the leaderboard, Alpha Prop, and Cyclone will be taking on Raiden Racing. All of that to come on the next episode of the Drone Champions League. I'm Matt Andrews, and we'll see you in the skies.